Hello, I am your substitute today, and we will be learning finding zeros with functions, rationals, and logarithms, SOL7b. Before we start the arithmetic part, we will start with a couple of definitions. Our first word is roots, where a function equals 0. This means when on a graph where the line crosses the x-axis. For example, we see here that this is a quadratic form. This, where the one side crosses the x-axis, is -2, 0. On this side is 2, 0. These will be our roots. Okay, our next definition is the quadratic formula, which reads a formula used when a polynomial cannot be factored. This means that when you have those formulas that have 2x minus 5 plus 6 that cannot be factored, you have to use a special formula, which is this formula right here. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. This is a very important formula and something you must remember. Okay, our next definition is logarithms, a number shown on a graph opposite of an exponent. We use logarithms to find the opposite of an exponent when a line on a graph does not fit a quadratic or a exponent. We also use it when trying to find a zero that does not go through the quadratic formula or can be factored. My recommendation is that you use a calculator. You can put it straight into y equals on your calculator by doing this. Okay, so to put this in your calculator, you will go to y equals. You will push the logarithm button, which is right here. Then you'll plug in the rest of your number, which is 4 minus 2x, and put another parenthesis around it. Push the button graph, and it will show you your line. Okay, we've come to our final and last definition. Rationals, a number that can be written in a ratio or fraction. I've underlined fraction because you'll most likely see a fraction version of this problem because they often come up on graphs, as seen in our example. And we'll soon find out how to solve these. Okay, now it's time for the mathematics. Now I've written our formula up top, the quadratic formula, and I have our equation / problem right here. So to be able to solve this, they are asking for the final factored out product. So to get there, we must first have everything on the same side. So the only variable that's not on the same side is 4. So to get it there, you must subtract it from each side of the equation. So once you subtract it, you get x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. A clever trick to remember this is that for this formula, you want to be with the party with everybody. You don't want to be alone by yourself. You want to be at the party. So now that we have the party concept, we're going to apply what I call the A, B, C rule. So, with the ABC rule, you see that we have these letters in our formula. Now we're going to follow the Jackson 5 ABC 1, 2, 3. So now that we have everything on the same side, we can use our ABC. So to use our ABC, we must go in order from left to right. So this will be A, this will be B, and this will be C. So when you write this equation, it will look, you would take these variables and put it into this equation. So what it'll look like, you'll take your B, and because there's a negative there, this will make it a -3. We have a plus or minus. Then you will write your square root sign. You have a b squared, so you will square b. 3 squared is 9. Minus 4 times a. There's no number in front of a, so it is understood that there is a 1 here. So 4 times 1 is 4. Then you'll take this number and multiply it by c. C is 4, -4. So you're going to multiply this 4 times -4, which gives you 16. So you'll have 9 minus a -16. 2 negatives multiplied by each other makes it positive. So you'll rewrite your whole equation. And make it positive. Now, I've cleaned up the board a little so it won't be as congested. So, what we've had so far is the -3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 16. Now we must finish before we add everything together and finish the bottom with the 2a. So our a is a 1, understood. So your bottom denominator will just be 2. So now that you have everything filled in, you can now add, subtract, divide, these things. So 16 plus 9 is 25. So I'll write that. Now, since 25 is a square root, you will pull it out. Now, with this problem, you cannot divide anything, even it out, so this is your final answer. So we're back with another problem just to make sure you have it. So we have our equation and still have our... So we're back, like Jack, with another problem. Still have the formula. And our problem is 2x minus 5x plus 14 equals 0. So this problem is already easier than the last problem because we already have everything on the same side. So we're automatically going to take our coefficients and plug them into the formula. We're going to take our first concept, the ABC 1, 2, 3, and use it. So, as I write it, I sing the song in my head so I remember it. So it's A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. So now that we have our ABCs in order, we can plug them into the formula. So we're going to start with this minus and bring it down. Our 5 is a negative 5. We've run into a problem because we have two negatives. When you have two negatives, you have to treat the outer negative as if there is a 1. So when you multiply negative 1 plus negative 5, you get a positive 5. So we have to rewrite this as a positive 5. So we have positive 5 plus or minus. Now we're entering into the square root territory. So me as a student teacher, I sometimes forget which order inside the square root the letters go. So I'll use a simple technique to remember this. I use back, B-A-C. When you can't remember, just remember you want to back it up into the square root. So you're going to spell back without the K. So you're always going to remember that the first number has a square root because the B is just so awesome and you want it twice. So you have negative 5 squared, which gives you 25, minus 4, which will always be there no matter what. So then we're going to use our A in back because we're sandwiching the A in the middle, which is a 1 because we have no number in front of the x squared. And last but not least, our C, which is 14. So it's up to you which way you want to multiply it. You could do the negative 4 times 1, the 1 times the 14, the 14 times the negative 4. I like to do the parentheses first, get them out of the way so they won't distract me. So I'll do 1 times 14, which gives me 14. So you bring this down and multiply it. Okay, so 14 times 4 is 56. So we're going to write the whole problem over with this final product on the side. So you have 5 plus or minus 25 minus 56. So we have 25 minus 56. That equals a negative 31. So we still have this 5 plus or minus. So because you cannot under any circumstances have a negative under a square root sign, we're going to use our special letter I. When you have a negative under a square root, you use I to take it out to make it a usual square root. So we're going to put it over here. 5 plus or minus I square root of 31. Because square 31 does not have a square root or any number that goes into it, so we have to leave it under the radical. So now we'll deal with the denominator, which you use A times 2. Our A is 1, so that'll leave us with the 2. Now nothing can be, 2 does not go into 5, nor does it go into 31, so this is our final answer. Okay. So our next lesson is going to be rationals while solving zeros. So to me this is the easiest because it takes one simple step. So you're going to look at your top number and you're going to set it to 0. So when setting it to 0, you're always going to want to take the number without the x or the variable and bring it to the other side. You want to stay away from x's, but stay with positive people and numbers. So you're going to bring this number over, and I will give you 3x equals negative 8. So now